In today's video, guys, we are back on the supercharged Audi RS4, and hopefully, if all goes well, we will be refitting the new supercharger that I've got, plumbing it all in, and also doing a Walnut blast carbon build-up clean as well. So in the last video, guys, we stripped the supercharger off, determined that it was seized, and I sent it off to TTS to be rebuilt or exchanged for a new one, and they rebuilt the drive shaft, etc. They have now sent it all back to me with a new belt, new litre of oil, new gasket seals, and a new supercharger unit. So all we've got to do, hopefully, is refit it and test it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it is all good. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy these videos and you haven't already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button, and also follow me on Instagram at saving_salvage as well. I do have some new hoodies coming soon. This is a prototype at the minute. Can't really see the back. I'm not quite happy with the back of it yet, so fingers crossed in the next couple of weeks there will be a hoodie available in my store too. So the first thing obviously we've got to do is the carbon clean, because we've already got all the inlet off as well. So I have bought a few tools over the past sort of week. I've got some walnut shells, some kit. I'll just show you all now actually. Right, so a quick explanation about what a walnut blast is and how it works. I'm not a professional. I've never done this before in my life, by the way, so take it with a pinch of salt. It's just what I've read and learnt over the past couple of days of reading up on it. So we have our walnut shell here, which is quite a harsh material, and it is very good for getting carbon build-up off the back of valves, which is why it is used. Now that walnut shell gets put into this little canister here, and there is a feed pipe or a suction pipe here, which you connect with this cable here, and that connects to your gun here. And then you've got your air compressor airline, which bolts onto here with your trigger. Now what happens is that when you pull the trigger, you fire out walnut shell at a high pressure through the nozzle there, and then it goes through this little, so this, let me just show you where this goes. This is the adapter that you need for the engine, and you basically sit that on here like that, which kind of seals off the cylinder or the back of the valves, and then you put your nozzle for your gun through there, and then a hoover over this bit here, and what you do is you kind of wiggle it around, fire walnut shell down there, get it all around, and then the hoover sucks up the walnut shells afterwards. And the idea is that it will clean the inside or the back of your valves. Now that is how I understand it works. As I say, I've never done it before, so this will be the first time for me. So fingers crossed it all goes well. So I'll just quickly show you where we're up to on the engine. Now, for those of you who watched the last one, I managed to get the supercharger out without having to remove or pull forward the front end. Managed just to squeeze it out. Don't think it's going to be as simple fitting it. I think we're going to have to just pull this front end forward to be able to get it in position properly, mainly because of this belt. I don't think I might be able to do it, but I'm going to probably end up putting the front end forward a couple of inches as well, and I'll probably need to get to my crank pulley so we can turn the engine over. Now the reason we are doing a carbon clean is because if you look in there, look, you can see, look how coked up those valves are. That one's covered in water, but it's quite difficult to see, but they are horrific in there. Look at that, horrible. So they haven't been done for many 1,000 miles. Now there's water in that one because when I took off the supercharger unit, I couldn't really do much. The water just got in there, there's nothing I could do about it, and in that one as well. So what I have done already off camera is I've just removed the coolant bottle, I've removed the coolant bottle for the supercharger and its oil pump as well, which I've put somewhere, and I've just pulled out the coil packs for the moment, because what we're going to have to do, because there's water in there, and obviously walnut blast shouldn't get down there, but if it does, I'm going to pull the spark plugs out, and then once we've done it all, we're going to just turn the engine over to get any excess water will come out the spark plug holes and anything as well, so we don't have any issues there. So we are going to go, first of all, before we obviously fit the supercharger, we're going to try and clean this out. So I'm actually going to start things off with the cylinder that had water in it. I've just got all the water out that cylinder, and I'm starting that one because I know it's sealed because it was watertight. So we're going to start with that one. I've just connected up, I've just put some walnut shell in there. I don't know how much I'll use. I'll put probably nearly half the bag in there. I have no idea the rate that it's going to use it, so we'll start with that much. Connected up all my lines, look. Put an airline connector on there. So got my hoover here look. So all I've got to do now is, where's my connector? Fantastic. So I've been so carried away Walnut blasting, I've completely forgot to have lunch and I'm absolutely starving, and that is where today's sponsor Y-Food comes nicely into play. Y-Food is a meal replacement drink, not to be confused with a diet shake. These can come in either a powder form or a ready-made drink like this. Now I really like using Y-Food because I'm busy all the time, I'm always doing stuff, and I don't have time / can't be bothered to make lunch. Now I find these perfect when I'm in the workshop as well as driving. It's days like these. Today, look, I want to crack on. I just want to finish this so I can get the video out to you guys. So instead of wasting half an hour stopping, I'm just going to smash down a Y-Food and I'll be on my way. And they keep you full for between 3 and 5 hours, and these drinks contain between 400 and 500 calories in, depending whether you have the powder or the pre-made drink. Now Y-Food have just released their newest flavour, which is salted caramel, and it is really nice as well. It's one of my new favourites, up there with vanilla as well. So I recommend the starter kit if you're new to Y-Food to start things off. All you got to do is click the link in my description, go over to Y-Food's website, add the starter kit to your basket, add my discount code, which is Salvage10, for a 10% off, guys. So that whole time lapse you've just seen there is just doing one valve. Or one cylinder's worth of valves. That took forever. Now I know why they charge so much to do it. It takes so long. I mean, it's not perfect at all by any means. However, it is 90% better. You can just seal it down there, look. I mean, I can't get every last bit off because it's just too caked on, and I don't think I've got enough walnut shells to do all of them if I end up spending too much time doing one cylinder. So I want to make sure I can do them all before I use any unspent ones on previous cylinders. But it's 90% better. Like, all the gunk's gone. There's just a few, as you can see, look on the back of the valves, there's just a few hard bits still, nothing major, but there's so much in there, it was unreal. I'll show you some pictures because camera's quite hard to show. I'll show you some before and after pictures of this valve, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, do the rest, and then I'll show you a complete after. So I've just finished. Now, no word of a lie, this has taken about 5 hours in total. These valves were absolutely shocking. And disclaimer, as I've just mentioned, this is the first time I've ever attempted something like this, so it's not perfect. However, it is 10, 20 times better than it was before. And as a first attempt, I am happy. And also, I was running out of walnut shells, so there's only so much time I could spend on each cylinder before I completely run out. But yes, have a look in there. They're not perfect. There is still a little bit of build up. However, hardly anything to worry about. Not really that's going to affect any performance anyway. just refitted these extension pieces here. All good to go. Cleaned them up as well, so they're all nice and tight and clean. So now we've got to start fitting the supercharger. So I'm just going to clean this inlet pipe here just to make sure it's got no rubbish in it left over from the Walnut blast. I've cleaned up as much as I can. Inevitably you do get little bits of walnut in places, so I've cleaned out as much as I can. So now we are at a stage where we can fit the supercharger. I have it over there. Here is our new supercharger, brand new unit. I think on these it's a C38. C38, I don't know. Just crush this box. I think it's one of the biggest ones anyway. Yeah, C38. And then we have a RS4 specific adapter here with the drive pulley. What else have we got? We have a litre of oil here, which is very, very expensive. I think it's about £100 a litre. We have a hell of a lot of gaskets and seals, which I need to find out where they go. New belt and a new oil filter. So first thing we've got to do is actually just fit the bracket, the cage, back to this, and then we can get it into a position where we can start building it back up. And I need to find out where the hell all those O-rings go. Just for a quick reference as well, here is my old supercharger. I did try and take it apart to see why it had seized. I still can't find any damage, but it is just still completely, obviously they're bearing their spins, but these should spin in here, which spins the charger. And I mean, I can't see any signs of wear, but the whole thing is just seized completely solid. So yeah, tried to take it apart. Did take it apart, but kind of failed because I never actually found out. It's just seized. I reckon it's lack of oil in the end. But that doesn't matter now. Let's put together the new unit. Right, so we've got the back side of the TTS charger here, or the bracket for it anyway. I was about to pull all my O-rings off. I just thought I'd better check that I definitely had the right ones, because they are just little round ones like this. However, I've just fitted this one, look, and fits like a glove. You just have to manipulate a little bit so it fits in. So I'm now going to go around and fit all the new gaskets, so they all look like that, or that one there. Right, so that's the supercharger fitted to the cage. Now what we've got to do is we've got these thick gaskets that are going to go in between the supercharger cage and these like adapters here. Now when I took them off, there was silicone. Someone had put a silicone sealant all around here. So what I'm now going to do quickly is I'm just going to run round this very small bead of sealant to go just round the outsides as well. Just then we can mount these gaskets onto here. And then we've got the underside of our cage, which I've just put the new O-rings on. They will sit on the top side here. So I'm just going to do that now quickly, then I can set my gaskets in position, and then we can fit the cage on the top. Right, so that's the supercharger all now in position with the intake hard pipe located as well. I've put the bracket on, which is now bolted to the inlet manifolds. It's all completely bolted down now. So all I've got to do this side is literally put the belt on, which I have down there, and then that'll be the front of it done. I've got loads of little gasket wire, which is for these here. As you can see, I've just ripped out the gasket in there, so I've just got to replace all these little tracks here with new gasket here, look. And then what we can do is we've got to also change our supercharger oil filter, which is this here. Got our intake pipe, intake hose for the supercharger, outlet hose here. They feed around to the oil cooler at the front. What else we've got to do? We've got to put our intake flat motor back in there with our intake hose. And then I can put my coolers in each track. I think there's a couple of O-rings that sit there, and I think I've got to put just a bead of silicone round there as well to keep them tight. as well. And then I think put the next layer on top and then close it off. I think that was pretty much it. It's been a few weeks now, I can't even remember. Yeah, I think we're doing all right. Before obviously we start the engine, I do want to take, as you can see, I've already taken all the coil packs out pretty much. I want to take all the spark plugs out just to turn over the engine because there is a bit of water in some of the cylinders. Right, my plan is, I'm going to get my dad to help. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn over the engine and I'm just going to get him to get the most out of the cylinders as possible. I'm just going to get him to get the hoover and just put it over each cylinder as I'm turning it over, just so I can suck out the most rubbish that may be in there. I don't think there's actually anything in there, really. Maybe just a little bit of water in some of them. So best thing to do, yeah, just stick the hoover in each one as I'm turning it over, and that gives me the best chance of getting everything out. So I'm going to do that now. Right, so that's now all the crap hopefully out the cylinders. What I am going to do for the purpose of the video is I'm just going to stick the old spark plugs back in for the moment. I've ordered some. I don't think they're going to be here today, so I'm going to be pretty stuck if I just leave it here at this stage. So what I'm going to do for the moment is just stick the old plugs back in, get it to a point where we can just start it, let it run, and I'll just have to change the spark plugs in another video. So that's what we'll do. But first of all, what I'm going to do is, I am going to just stick all the spark plugs back in, and then we are going to fit. We have our two new banjo connectors for the inlet and outlet of the supercharger. We have our new oil filter we're going to fit, so we're going to do that first. Banjos, spark plugs in, and then we've got to build up this side of the coolant tank and the oil tank for the supercharger. We have to put these into situ so I can bleed the supercharger, and then we can start building up this side of the supercharger. So ooh, blue. Oh, I have no idea how much I'm supposed to be putting in there, if I'm honest. So to pre-bleed the system, now I've got fluid in there. I need to just put my airline in there and lightly pressure it so oil comes all the way through the system, and I need to wait until the air's bleeded out of here, or bled out of here, and we start getting fluid come out of here. That is when the system is bled and pre-charged, if you will. So I'm just going to get my airline. Right, I've just put silicone all around the joins to the cooler, both sides. I'm now in a position where I can just drop the lid, so to speak, onto the top here. All seals are in place. I've cleaned the back side of the cage, so we're going to fit that now. Nearly there, off camera. I've just done up all the bolts for the cage here. So all I've got left to do now is just fit the top cover. I've fitted my coolant adapter here. Everything's loosely in position because I'm aware I'm going to have to change the spark plugs, so I don't have to put everything back together. So all I've got to do is fit the cage, fit the belt, do up my fuel pipes, and then I think I've also fitted the intake motor and induction hose. So I think then we'll be able to just go for a start. So let's just fit the cage. There's nothing now stopping us from starting it up, so that is what I'm going to do. I've just put the front end loosely on, just a couple of bolts, just to hold it in position. So I think we'll give it a start. Right guys, there we go. She is up and running, albeit she doesn't look that smoky, but it's pretty smoky in here, so I'm going to go and get some breath in a minute. So that is the end for today's video, guys. It is mostly back together. Engine's been running, as you heard, for a few minutes. All seems okay. I have just spoke to TTS. The coolant system is actually a standalone system, so that's probably another reason it failed as well, because there was no coolant in it at all either. Well, I say none, there was only a little bit. So we need to top that up as well. We've just checked the oil level of the engine running for the supercharger. I've topped that up as well. Got no leaks, which is good. Engine seems to be running fine. Sounds pretty raspy, as you just heard. You can hear the supercharger whining at the front as well. A few little revs. So in the next video, guys, I will be getting the new spark plugs. I'll fit them, and then I'll put all the front end back together, and then we'll go for a road test. And I do need to book it into MRC for a health check, basically, just to make sure everything is fine with the map and the supercharger, etc. But that will be a separate video whenever they've got time to fit me in. So the next video will be just finishing off spark plugs, front end, and then taking it out for a road test. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.